Welcome to today's episode. Your partner isn't the problem, this is. Stick around. I promise you will get so much from this episode. I know that sounds like what is this even going to be about? Honestly, it's going to be about ways that you can transform your relationship so you don't have to stay stuck in the fighting, the disconnection, feeling like roommates, and actually save your relationship and get back on track. Get the love, get the passion, get the joy all back because you deserve to have that loving and connected relationship. So hit subscribe below. There are so many great episodes coming out each week, and I don't want you to miss not even a single one. So what do I mean? Why am I talking about your partner isn't the problem, this is? So what is the actual problem is a lot of the times people are really viewing their partner as being the problem. Like they're not doing this, they're not doing that, they're not holding up their end of the bargain, they're not sharing the mental load, they're not doing the house chores with me, they're not spending quality time, they're not communicating properly, they're not doing da 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 da, right? The list goes on and on and on and on and on. I get it, right? And I'm sure there is an element to it that's true. However, a lot of times when I talk to couples, and even sometimes when I just speak to one person, so a lot of people think that it has to be two people that comes to couples counseling to help a relationship. Honestly, a lot of the time it's one person that comes, gets some help, gets some guidance, and puts that in place into their relationships to create long-lasting change. And so when they're putting this in play, when they change the way that they view the other person, they change the way of what they're focusing on in their relationship. And I'm going to go into some really specific 5 tangible things that you can actually do. It changes the way that their relationship is as a whole. So it's very, very impactful that you stop blaming your partner. You take responsibility for your own actions. Now, I know that's not the whole piece of the puzzle or the whole piece of the pie. It's really, really, really important that you step back, stop looking at what they're doing wrong, and start looking at what they're doing right. Okay. And I'm going to talk through each of these 5 things because there's an impact for each one. So, number one, you need to rediscover their positive qualities. So, a lot of times, couple have been in relationships for 7, 8, 10, 20, 50 years. It's a really long time, right? Maybe more like 30. And they forget that they have positive qualities. They actually just start focusing on every single negative quality that their partner has or what they're not doing or how they're not showing up. And what happens is resentment builds, hurt builds, frustration builds, anger builds, and then there becomes more fights, more disconnect, and this just snowballs, right? It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every single month and year. And so what you can do on the proactive side is rediscover what their actual positive qualities and traits are. List them down for yourself. Like a lot of times they have kindness, humor, resilience. You will be able to find some. If you think you can't find any, I challenge you to find 5 at least. If you feel like you could find some, then I challenge you to find 10. The more positive traits and qualities you can find about your partner, the more you start to notice them in your day to day. And then the more you notice them, the more you get them, right? Like it's the old saying, what appreciates, appreciates. If you appreciate those things, you get more of those things. So start putting your eyes on what's working and take your eyes off what's not working. Number 2, this one seems a bit grim, but imagine life without them. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times when I put this in perspective in couples counseling, people go, yeah, well, actually, life would be pretty hard. I'd have to do all of these extra things, even though there's still some things they're not doing. And it would really be hard without them. And they start taking their focus on all the challenges and all the issues, and then they start looking and cherishing moments that they have together where they feel happy, love fulfilled. And this really reminds you of your partner's value and importance. And so these exercises are great to do as a couple if you're both open, or great to do individually about your partner. So you can start cultivating, honestly, that respect, that appreciation for your partner. Now, I know you might be sitting there thinking, I don't feel that right now. I feel annoyed. I feel frustrated. I feel like life would be better without them. I challenge you to do this exercise because while often our brains can think it is, it's not always the case. So it's really, really important to dig deep and see what comes up for you specifically around this. Number 3, consider their perspective. Now, couples counseling is literally the best thing for this because most times we talk, we don't listen. We're talking to respond. We're not talking to take it in and understand our partner. And you have to actually consider where they're coming from, what their hopes, what their dreams are, what their challenges have been, what's going on for them. Basically, step in their shoes because this can really reduce misunderstandings. It can build empathy between you, which is really important for connection. It can build emotional closeness, right? Which is where emotional intimacy comes from. So these things are very, very important. And it's really easy to not step in your partner's shoes when life is busy, life is full on, and we just keep going, going, going. And we assume the worst because our brains are pretty much wired that way, right? We will go to the negative way easier than we will go to the positive. So it's really important to assume the best and get in their shoes. Really think about what's going on for them, why they're acting this way, why they might be feeling this way, and cultivate that deep empathy for them, because then you can be supportive of each other, right? And lean on each other and be a team. If you don't have this piece, there's no way for you to be a team. Number 4, acknowledge their growth. Now, I know some people don't like this. They're like, well, they don't acknowledge mine. Have you ever considered that if you started doing it, they might start doing it back? It's really important to acknowledge their growth. What are they doing well? What have they changed? What have they overcome? What new skills have they developed? What have they done to support you, support the family, support your family, all sorts of aspects, right? Acknowledge what they've done and acknowledge their growth, how far they've come. Even you've overcome as a team. This is super important. A lot of the times we are just forging ahead. We don't even know in what direction sometimes. And we forget to acknowledge the good stuff. We forget to acknowledge what we've overcome, what's happened, and how we've grown as humans. And even if it's not perfect right now, there's no such thing as perfect anyway, but even if it's not exactly where you want it to be, acknowledging that growth can spur someone on, motivate them, and inspire them to keep pursuing X goal, to keep pursuing feelings of deeper happiness, joy, and contentment, or deeper levels of intimacy in your relationship. Often we stop doing this stuff, we stop appreciating, we stop praising, we stop helping our partner like be motivated and telling them what we love and appreciate about them. And when we stop doing that, then they're less likely to do these things and it kind of dies off and we wonder why. So number 5 is cultivate curiosity. It's honestly such an important insight in relationships to cultivate curiosity. When we've been together for a while, we think we know it all. Everything about them, we know what they're going to say. Yeah, sometimes that's true. But honestly, we are all growing, evolving, and changing every single day. So ask meaningful questions of your partner. Listen actively. There's so much to learn, even when you feel like you know someone completely. There is so much to learn. And having that curiosity actually makes each other more interested in engaging each other. And from that place, both people are more likely to open up freely. They're more likely to share things that are deeper or more precious to them. And so really, really important is to cultivate curiosity in your relationship. Now, all of these different things are hugely important to get your eyes off the lack in your relationship, to get your eyes off what your partner's not doing, to get your eyes off what's not working, and start focusing on what they are doing well, what's good about them, and what is working. I cannot tell you how important it is to cultivate this side and do it every single day. So I want to know, what's one thing you're going to take from this episode and what's one thing you're going to action, because this is where the rubber hits the road. I really want you not just to listen to this, but I want you to do this in your real relationship, not just think about it, but actually go and write these lists. What are my partner's positive qualities? Imagine life without them and what would that look like? Consider their perspective, what's going on for them, get in their shoes and acknowledge their growth and actually tell them. You can write it all down, that's good too, but tell them, it means a lot. And cultivate curiosity. Seriously remain open and curious around your partner, what they're going through, what's happening for them. And this will all help create emotional intimacy, trust, deeper connection, and really, really importantly, actually get you more of the behaviors, connection that you do want in your relationship because you're focused on the right things. The more you put your eyes on the goodness in the other person, the more you see that. It happens time and time again. I have so many couples that I give these types of things to, and they do this, and lo and behold, what happens? They get more of this in their relationship. If you're struggling right now in your relationship, I offer a 15-minute reconnect Zoom call. I would love to meet you. I'd love to find out what's going on for you. And let's get some steps in place to help you rebuild your relationship, reconnect, stop feeling like roommates, and save your relationship. Now it's time for you to go and turn your relationship on.